welcome to another episode of Missed Calls with Coach Miller. I am, in fact, Coach Miller, and this episode is brought to you by Home by SMCI. If your house is toasty hot and it's hot like it is outside, you need to call Home by SMCI today. They'll come and take care of your air conditioning unit. They'll get it running the way it should. They'll get it pumping cool air into your home because they want to treat your home like it's their home. That's why they're called Home by SMCI. So give them a call today at 636-337-4444 and make sure that you are not melting this summer, especially here in Missouri. It's just terrible. So one of the things that I'd like to talk to you about today is the lack of resiliency in our youth, particularly in youth sports today. Now, the definition of resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. It is actually toughness. Toughness is a big part of sports. If you're not resilient, if you don't know how to handle adversity, if you can't be resilient in the face of adversity, you will probably struggle with sports, because it just doesn't come easy to everybody. Sport is about the difficulties. It's about competing. And when you're in competition, somebody has to lose, unless it's a stupid tie. And I don't even want to get started on soccer. But the thing is about sports, okay, especially with youth. You started sports in high schools and in schools, in school programs years and years ago, back in the early 1900s. Does anybody know why? Well, here's the purpose behind it. The purpose behind having sports in schools was it was part of this well-rounded educational movement. You want to develop characteristics such as leadership, discipline, teamwork, determination, and resilience. Kind of a big word. You want to have resilience to adversity, which were all big-time characteristics of people who are hiring. That's what you want from your employees. You want your employees to have all of these characteristics. So that's why we started sports. And of course, it's grown. There's this big belief that, and I totally agree, I use it with my kids, that sports parallel life, because you're going to experience a lot of those same things that you have to overcome. You have to have those characteristics. And there's a reason why, because that's why they had sports in schools from the first place. And what's changed? In the last few years, I've personally noticed, I've been in coaching for 20 years in high school sports, and I've noticed a drastic change in our kids, our youth, and how they deal with adversity and how the resilience has changed. Why has it? Well, obviously we can all point to the COVID shutdown. Okay, great. We can point fingers at it, whatever. The fact of the matter is we have a lack of peer-to-peer interaction nowadays, physically. I mean, they can interact in online gaming. Online gaming is whatever, but we don't have as much peer-to-peer physical interaction. As a teacher, and I can sit down in the lunchroom and be supervised in the lunchroom, and I see 80% of the kids, they're not talking to each other. They're playing on their phones. They're involved in screens. The kids go home, they're playing video games. If they're communicating with anybody, it's through online gaming. They're playing Call of Duty or whatever other games nowadays kids play online against each other. But that doesn't make me able to communicate. So whenever I have an issue that I have to deal with physically, like communicating with somebody, I can't. I don't know how to physically advocate. I've had teachers tell me that they've had kids in their classes, they're going over things, email them from the back of the room because they didn't want to ask the question out loud. And these are some of the best and brightest minds, not exactly the kids that you're thinking, oh, okay, well, they're going to be whatever. No, these are the kids that you're expecting to go to college and to do something with their life. They're the ones that are having a hard time having these interactions. Well, how does that translate into sports? Well, if I need to have a discussion with my coach, I can't. I don't know how to do that. I don't understand how to have those conversations. And that's a big part of it, because whenever I feel confident to make those questions and to have that conversation, all of a sudden I become more resilient. And I think those are little bits right there, especially with the peer-to-peer interactions that are lacking. So when you have to have peer to someone who's not your peer, someone who's an adult, we are missing the boat here. We need to have our kids able to communicate a little bit more. You had to force them. You had to tell them to put the screens down. You can shut the games off, whatever, have those conversations. Now there's a second part of this too. We have a lot of parents who are okay with kind of moving things to the side for their kids. So this looks like a problem. Let me move it to the side. And you kind of become a lawnmower parent at that point. It's okay to let your kid fail. It's okay for them to experience the heartache of failure, because failure is going to make you more successful. It allows for growth. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb and invented several other things, and is well renowned as far as being a great inventor. He was once asked about how come what was his thoughts about failing to create the incandescent light bulb 10,000 times. And he said, and I quote, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully found 10,000 ways that it will not work." Now that's a complete spin, because did he fail 10,000 times? Sure he did. But you know what? He also found 10,000 ways that it didn't work. In sports, there's so much failure involved. You're not making every shot that you shoot in basketball. You're not making every shot that you shoot in hockey. You're not catching every pass in football. You're not hitting the baseball into play and getting the hit every single time. The sports are all about failure. They're all about how resilient you are, because if it doesn't come easy, you have to work. You have to improve your game. You have to improve your craft. You have to be better the next time out. And a lot of kids will use the gaming terminology. If it isn't easy, I'm just going to hit reset on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and I'm just going to go back. I don't want to do this. I'm not confident enough in myself because I'm not allowed to fail. And parents, you have to allow your kids to fail. Okay? Because they're already lacking on some of this other stuff. You have to be the ones to help them. You can't let them run from their problems, whether that's in life, whether that's socially, whether that's in sports. They have to be able to advocate for themselves. They have to be able to deal with some of these problems themselves. You can't fight their battles for them. It doesn't make them any better. I agree. To a point, you're going to take up for your kid. I'm a parent. That's what you're going to do. But on hindsight, if you're always doing it, what is that teaching your kid? How do they handle any of their problems themselves? They don't. They're always looking for someone to bail them out. And you're going to be that person bailing them out or making them meatloaf or something when they're 38 years old living in your basement. You don't want to be that person. You want them to learn from failure. They have to fail. And that goes with if you disagree with how the coach is playing it. That goes with if you think they should be playing more. If you think that there should be something different going on that would make them successful, that's okay. That's not your battle to fight. You are the person who has to be the one who supports them positively, because they already feel like they can't do it. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's how you respond. The measure of a man is how they handle adversity. That goes with women too. But you have to be able to handle adversity. Confidence erodes when kids are not resilient. Okay? If we're not teaching them how to be resilient, they'll never be confident. They just won't. There's so many things going on in their lives right now. They have so much interaction with each other via screens and the internet and social media that they have to learn how to be resilient, probably more now than they've ever been, because there's so much coming at them at one time. There's so much information that they're getting. And the more resilient they are, the more it's going to improve their mental health. You got to stop caring what other people think. At the end of the day, they're just people. Those are just words. I know it's like sticks and stones break my bones. And I know words hurt. Trust me. I've had people say things about my coaching, about me personally, for the last 20 years. And that's not going to change. And I'm not too worried about that. But you know what? It's not easy when you hear it all the time. But it's how you deal with it. What motivates you? How resilient are you? Those are things that kids need to be learning right now from us as parents, from us as adults. They have to be able to get that. They have to be taught that. It's not something that you can just say, oh, okay, well, here you go, be resilient and go on. It's not how it works. You have to be able to teach them this. Not just the parents, coaches, people that are important in these kids' lives, because our youth are missing those. They're not resilient like they should be. There are kids who are resilient, and they're the ones who succeed. But we have a big time gap between kids that are resilient and understand how to deal with adversity than what we do with kids who don't. They would just as easily want to walk away from the problem. And if you're always walking away from the problem, how do you ever get anywhere? How do you ever succeed at things? Because in order to be successful, you have to fail. That's just all there is to it. I mean, Michael Jordan says, I miss 100% of the shots I don't take. And he didn't make all of his shots. And he didn't make over 60% of his shots. I mean, he's about 50-50 at best. The best baseball players in Major League Baseball are hitting 300. That's 3 out of 10. That's 30%. It's a game of failure. It's a game of failure. It's constant failure. And how you're overcoming those odds, how you're stepping up and dealing with the adversity, and learning how to lose again, and meeting achievable goals. So if I don't meet these goals, it's not the end of the world. I set achievable goals. I don't meet them, not the end of the world. I can get better. I can grow. It's okay. It's okay to lose. It's how you do it. It's how you bounce back from it. It's how resilient you are. We need to be teaching this more. This is a major issue today, and it starts in youth sports, and it moves into the college ranks, it moves into the pro ranks, and you're seeing a different type of athlete nowadays. They're not used to it. If things come naturally for a guy all the way through, and all of a sudden he gets to the next level and he struggles, it's tough. He might not make it. He might wash out. What does that do for him mentally? Don't know, because we don't know his mental health state. I know personally, when I have kids who can't meet those goals, and then they don't know how to bounce back from it and they fail, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they really struggle. And that's why it's always important to teach kids, when you're a coach in youth sports, it's not about winning and losing this game. It's about winning and losing in life. And we're going to try to win in life. We got to get you to the point where you understand that failure is okay. No, I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose. I mean, I'm extremely competitive. I will beat you in checkers if I can. I'll beat you in ping pong, beat you whatever game. I might not be good at, but I'm going to beat you. That's my mindset. And I don't expect to win all the time, but I'm going to try to win. And when I don't, I'm going to figure out a way to win the next time. And that's what we should be teaching our kids. It's how we bounce back. How do we make you resilient, not just in sports, but in your social life, in your work life, in your relationships, how you bounce back. That's the thing that we are missing out on today. And that's the miscall that I see that's happening today in our youth. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Missed Calls. Tune in next week for another episode of the Coach's Box. We took the week off to enjoy the 4th of July holiday and other activities, as some of our members are traveling and spending time with their families. So make sure you guys tune in to all of our great content. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great day. God bless.
Are you tired of boring sports talk shows? Then tune in to the Coach's Box. These guys don't just talk sports. They talk about whatever the heck they want to talk about. Watch new episodes of the Coach's Box each week for free on Facebook, YouTube, or the Streamline Sports app.